Hi, this is Carl Palachuk with Small Biz Thoughts, and this is another SOP video for managed service providers. Today we're going to talk about what I would call a quick start guide to a service call or a client visit. There are basically three pieces to a client visit: before, during, and after. So before the client visit, the first thing you want to do is print out all the service requests for that client and make sure that you know what you're walking into. Make sure that you know everything that needs to be done there, even if you're only going to work on one thing. You don't want somebody to come up to you and ask a question about something and be ill-prepared for the answer. In preparation, you want to make sure that you print out anything that needs to be printed out. Make sure you have with you all the information you need to take, the tools that you want to take. You need to be well dressed. If you're charging $150 an hour, you want to be dressed as if you're worth $150 an hour. So don't go in there with jeans and a t-shirt or let your technicians do the same thing. This is one of the reasons why outsourcing the actual client visit is not something I recommend for most companies. Once you get on site, a lot of the stuff you need to do is just real basic. Things like don't park in the best parking spot. Park on the other end of the parking lot. Why take up space and get yourself in the way of the client? Go ahead and put yourself out just a little bit, and that way you come across as somebody who actually pays some attention to the business needs of your client. Also, meet and greet. Say hello, say goodbye. Sometimes as technicians, we forget that we have to take care of the people side of the business. And if your clients are not used to the people who are coming into the office, you absolutely have to make sure that your technicians say hello and goodbye and let the receptionist or whoever your primary contact is know what you're going to be doing that day. It's very important when you're on site, if you start spinning your wheels, if your technician spends 30, 40, 50 minutes not making progress towards a service ticket, they need to open a troubleshooting and repair log. And that's simply something to keep track of what they've done and the order in which they've done it. And that way they can call for help. They can escalate to somebody, whether it's Microsoft, HP, Symantec, the service manager, another technician, whoever it might be. It's also important that your technicians know who is responsible for communication with the client. If it's something that the service manager should be talking to the client about, then by all means the technician needs to talk to the service manager and let the service manager talk to the client. If the client asks you a direct question and you can't answer it, you need to make sure that you send that to somebody who can. And just be very honest with the client and say, I don't know, you got to talk to the service manager. Finally, at the end of the call, it's very important that you take care of all the business. Put in the time entries, put in notes about what happened and anything that needs to be done as a follow-up. Make sure that you document the work that was done. Close appropriate tickets. If somebody tapped a technician on the shoulder and said, I have something else for you to do, then open tickets. You should make sure that everything is taken care of and all the paperwork is taken care of before you leave that office. And that way, you have the opportunity for the client to be able to give you instant feedback. It's also important that all the notes are in the system. If a technician leaves the client's office and something happens, the client's going to call the office and say, hey, what's going on? And if the service manager can open up the PSA and look at the notes, they'll know exactly what's going on. If the technician decided, oh, I won't put my notes in until I get off work at 6 o'clock tonight, well, then there's nothing in the system, and the service manager has no way of having a legitimate conversation with that client about what happened. They have to second guess. And that's not good for your company. So everyone should work in real time, put your notes into the system, keep all of the time entries and the documentation up to date. And that way, if something happens and the client has to call the service manager just has to open the PSA and he'll know the answers to the questions. So really, a service call is very straightforward. Do your preparation, handle yourself appropriately on site, and take care of that paperwork before you leave. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Palachuk wishing you all the best in your managed service business.